What's up, YouTubers? Alright, today, I'm gonna throw you a little bit of a history lesson, okay? So sit back and learn something. What we're gonna talk about today is King Nebuchadnezzar. Now, if you don't know about King Nebuchadnezzar, he was the king of Babylon around 600 BC. At the time, Babylon was the richest and the biggest city in the entire world. It was said that there was more gold than there was dirt or dust in the city. Huge buildings. There were over 200 pagan temples that were in Babylon, and King Nebuchadnezzar thought that it was the empire that would last for 1,000 years. It wasn't to be, though. Now, there is a day or a night rather, where King Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. Excuse me. Now, he woke up from this dream, and like most of us, he couldn't remember it, but he knew that it was important. He knew that there was information that he needed to get out of it, and so he asked all of his scholars and all of his, advisors. He called them to his chamber, and he said, look, I've had this dream, and I want you to tell me the meaning behind it. And Daniel, now let's pause here for a second, and let's go back a little bit. Daniel, in the Bible, King Nebuchadnezzar, when he would conquer other cities, he would take some of the children, the select few. You had to be kind of special. And Daniel happened to be one of these special kids. So they took these kids to Babylon, and they would basically try to brainwash them into believing what the Babylons believed. And so Daniel he grew up, he went through all the classes, he learned everything that he needed to learn. And he became one of King Nebuchadnezzar's most trusted advisors. Now, let's go back to the dream. Now, at the time that King Nebuchadnezzar called everybody to his chambers to ask about the dream and have them decipher it, Daniel wasn't present. We don't know where he was or what happened, but he wasn't there. So the King Nebuchadnezzar tells his advisors, look, I've had this dream, and I want you to decipher it for me. And they said, sure, no problem, just tell us what was in the dream, and we can tell you what it means. And he says, well, I can't remember the dream. But if you're good at what you do, then you should be able to tell me what that dream is, and you should be able to tell me what it means. They were unable to do so. They tried, they thought, it worked, but it didn't work. Nothing happened, nothing became of it. They did not know what his dream was or what the meaning was. So King Nebuchadnezzar went through and decided he was going to kill all of his advisors, all of his magicians, everybody that was in his kingdom that was supposed to be intelligent. He went through and ordered them all to be killed. Now, at this point, Daniel was in his house, and one of the soldiers came to his house, knocked on the door. Are you Daniel? Yes, I'm Daniel. I'm here to kill you. He says, why? And for some reason, the soldier explained to him, the king had a dream, and he can't remember it, and he doesn't know the meaning. And because his advisors were unable to tell him what the dream is or what it meant, he's ordered them all to be killed. So the soldier, for some reason, allows Daniel to go to King Nebuchadnezzar and say, look, give me a little bit of time and I'll tell you about your dream. So King Nebuchadnezzar gave him some time. He worked out the dream, and he came to him and he said, look, I don't know what your dream is, but my God knows these things and he can reveal them to you. So Daniel prays, and he comes back to Nebuchadnezzar and he says, what you saw was an image, and it was an awesome image. It was an image of a statue, and this statue had a head of gold, and it had a torso of silver. It had thighs of bronze. It had legs of iron, and it had feet and toes of clay and iron mixed together. He told King Nebuchadnezzar, he said, you, my great king, are the head of gold. And this pleased him, King Nebuchadnezzar, up until the point where he said his next statement, which was, after you. King Nebuchadnezzar thought that he was going to live forever, that he was going to reign for 1,000 years. Daniel told him, after you, there is going to be another empire, which will be lesser than yours. Following that, there will be a third empire, bronze, that will be of lesser than you. The fourth empire that comes out of after you will be of iron. Now, this will be a very, very strong empire, and it became known as the Roman Empire. Now, this is about the time that Jesus was walking the earth. He was watched over by Roman soldiers. He was impaled on the cross with a spear by a Roman soldier. He supposedly had a sponge of vinegar put on his lips by a Roman soldier. So we can deduce that from about 585 AD to the transfer from BC to AD. Sorry, 575 BC. My apologies. From about 575 BC to the time of Jesus, there were these other two empires which came after King Nebuchadnezzar, him being the head of gold, followed by the torso of silver and the thighs of bronze. Now, through all of this, Daniel was the only one that was spared out of King Nebuchadnezzar's entire empire of trusted advisors, because he was the one who told him about his dream and deciphered it for him. Now, we get to the feet and toes of clay and iron. Now, what that meant was that the empire of iron, the legs, the iron that it represented, the Roman Empire, that would not be taken over, but would be divided. And that is how the end of the Roman Empire came to be, as it was divided. But I gotta ask you, what's your opinion on all of this? Do you believe that Jesus actually existed? Do you believe that this story was something that came true? Do you believe that it's all just bullshit? Just one of the many stories from history that I'm aware of that I thought I would kind of help y'all out with. So, it is what it is. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got a little bit of information, and I hope you learned something new, because in this time of sitting on our asses at home, there's nothing better to do than to learn something.